Before the world begins to stir, before the coffee brews and the clocks start ticking, there is a sacred hush, an unseen doorway between heaven and earth. Most rush past it, most miss it. But to the one who dares to pause, to breathe, to simply be, there waits a divine encounter. This is not about performance. This is not about perfection. This is about presence. A quiet devotion whispered in the stillness of dawn. A hunger, a sigh, a silence where God leans in close. Welcome, child. You are about to enter the secret place the morning devotion most never know. Asterisk, asterisk, my dear sweet child. When the morning sun peeks through the veil of night and kisses your window pane with its golden lips, know this, God has already walked through your room. Yes, he has. He has tiptoed past the sorrow that tried to steal your dreams while the moon kept silent vigil. He has wrapped his arms around your weary soul before your feet ever touch the floor, before you rise, before the world demands your name. There is a hush, a sacred place, a sacred invitation. It is not written in books, not preached from pulpits, not found in formulas passed down on gilded pages or in ink that fades. No, child. It is quieter than a sigh, more powerful than a shout. It is the devotion of stillness. It's the devotion of surrender. The secret morning devotion most never know. It begins before you speak, in that holy pause between sleep and stirring, in the hush of the early morning when the world is still tangled in dreams and the sky blushes soft with dawn. There is a magic that hums through the air, a sacred whisper that too many miss, because they're already reaching for their phones or rushing toward the noise. But you, child, if you are brave enough to be still, you will find something eternal, waiting in the silence. You don't need eloquence. You don't need a long list of requests. You don't need fancy words dressed in religious lace. You need only to show up raw and honest, barefoot in the spirit, heart trembling with truth. Before you stretch your limbs, before you splash your face with water, there is a devotion waiting. Not written in liturgy. It's not sung in polished choir notes, but written on the soft, tender skin of your soul. It does not require doing. It asks you only to be, to sit in the mystery, to breathe in the promise of a day not yet written, to let the quiet speak louder than a sermon. Some people think they must wait until they feel holy enough, clean enough, strong enough, worthy enough to speak to God. But child, listen to me. God is not looking for your perfection. He is looking for your presence. He is not asking you to tidy up your soul before you enter the throne room. He welcomes you in your mess, in your confusion, in the ache that sits like a stone in your chest, because he knows the softest prayers are the ones without words, the ones groaned in the dark, the ones cried in secret, the ones that burn in your chest when your lips can't even move. It is in that sacred pause between waking and doing that you build the strongest altar, an altar of breath, of surrender, of trust, an altar where you lay your fear before the sun has a chance to remind you of it. It's an altar where you place your hope before it has time to bruise. It's an altar where you say, Lord, I don't know what this day will bring, but I trust you with it. That first breath of morning you choose. Will you rush into the noise? Or will you rest in the hush where God's Spirit hovers like it did in the beginning, brooding over your soul, waiting to speak life into the void inside you? He whispers what you long to hear. You are loved. You are seen. You are mine. Let the world rush. Let them mock stillness. Let them run toward their calendars and lose themselves in the chase, but you will walk steady, with the peace of God tucked into your bones like a quiet flame burning slow and sure. You'll carry the hush of heaven into the noise of the afternoon, a quiet anchor in the middle of the storm. You don't need incense. You don't need perfection. You don't need anything but a willingness to be still, because in the stillness, God shows up. Asterisk, asterisk, stillness. Stillness is not weakness. It is not laziness. It is not wasted time. It is the most powerful place you will ever stand or kneel, or fall, or simply breathe. It is the space where God comes close, not because you performed, but because you paused. And in that pause, he does what no performance ever could. He holds you. People think devotion starts when they open their mouths, when they begin to speak in tongues, quote scripture, or sing until the windows shake. But the secret, child, is that devotion begins with hunger, a sacred hunger, the kind that rises before your body is even fully awake, the kind that says there must be more than this. It's more than noise, more than chasing, more than surviving. That hunger, it is not something to be ashamed of. It is holy. It is the thread that pulls you into the heart of God, and He welcomes it. He does not scold you for being empty. He delights in your thirst. Because only the hungry are filled, so only the thirsty are satisfied. You see, real devotion does not come from the abundance of your strength, but from the depth of your need. I've seen people try to feed that hunger with applause, with ambition, dressed up in church clothes, with praise that performs but never touches heaven and those souls. They grow weary, bitter, burnt out, because they pour out from a well they never let God fill. But oh, child, when you let yourself be empty before the Lord, when you drop the masks, the plans, the pride, you give God room to move. You say with your silence, Lord, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to find you. And that kind of honesty is an altar all its own. The world tells you to be full, to be strong, to be unshakable. But God says, come to me hungry, come trembling, come broken, come tired of pretending. Come with your questions, come with your silence. Come even if all you can do is breathe, because that breath, that is prayer, that hunger, that is worship. And God knows how to interpret the language of longing. When you sit in the hush and your soul aches with no words, He leans close. He understands. You don't need to say it right. You don't need to say it at all. Just bring yourself tired, real, and wanting, and He will meet you. He will feed you with peace that has no explanation. He will wrap you in love that doesn't need to be earned. He will give you strength you didn't know was still hiding. Beneath the rubble of yesterday's storms, this is the devotion most don't know. It is not noisy. It is not flashy. It is not something you can post about or count likes. On it is deep, private, sacred, hidden. It is born in the quiet moments when your soul whispers, God, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I need you. And heaven answers, not with a spotlight, but with stillness, not with applause. But with assurance, heaven gathers your broken pieces and says, this is enough. You are enough. I will make something beautiful out of this. So, child, before the world wakes up, before the rush returns, before your to-do list swallows your thoughts, find your way to that hush, that holy hush, where hunger becomes prayer, where weakness becomes offering, where you stop reaching and start receiving. And know this, you don't need to beg. You don't need to plead. You don't need to strive. Just sit in the quiet. Let your hunger be seen, because God is not watching your performance. He is listening to your silence. He is waiting to meet you in the spaces where you have nothing left but trust. That is where the miracle happens. Not in the noise, but in the need. Not in the strength, but in the surrender. So let the hunger rise. Let it be your incense. It be your offering, and watch. Watch how God takes your emptiness and turns it into a feast. Asterisk, asterisk. There comes a moment, child, when the loudest prayer is not the one that tumbles from your lips in a river of words, but the one that grows, slow. And deep in the soil of your silence, there comes a moment when you realize God does not require eloquence. He's not swayed by your rehearsed lines, your perfect posture, your well-packaged pleas. All He wants is your trembling. Open heart laid bare in the soft light of morning. Some rush into prayer like they're rushing into a marketplace, bargaining, performing, insisting on their way. But child, God is not a merchant. God is not waiting behind a counter weighing your requests against your offerings. God is a father, a mother, lover of your soul, and what He wants more than anything is you. Just you. Not the polished version, not the one with spiritual filters, but the you who woke up with doubts, with fear in your chest and last night's tears still drying on your cheeks, that kind of honesty. That raw ache you bring into the morning, that is the secret altar, as the devotion most never see. Because the world has taught us to parade our faith, to display our strength, to announce our devotion loud enough for others to applaud. But heaven isn't listening for noise. Heaven is leaning in for the whisper, the sigh, the breath that says, I don't know how to do this without you. Sometimes the holiest thing you can offer is simply your presence. No fancy words, no grand declarations, just the courage to say, here I am, empty, tired, unsure, but I'm yours. And in that whisper, he moves, not always with a voice, but with presence. Sometimes he says nothing at all. He just sits beside you in the stillness and breathes. And that is enough. Because when you give God your stillness is not what the world calls valuable, but stillness is where your spirit finds strength. Stillness is where trust is born. Not the trust that shouts, not the trust that demands, but the kind that roots down deep, like an old oak tree. Planted by the water of God's promises, it is not loud, it is faithful. I have seen souls who thought they had to prove themselves to God, dragging themselves to altars, weighed down with guilt, with shame, with effort, thinking maybe if I try harder, maybe if I pray louder. It's not a performance. It is a love song. It's sung not with your lips, but with your longing. Sung not on stages, but in secret. God does not need your perfection. He wants your trust. Trust doesn't bloom in noise. It grows in silence. It blossoms when you choose to be still, to stop striving, to whisper in the quiet, God, I trust you, even here. And oh child, how the heavens rejoice when you say those words, because that kind of trust, it cannot be shaken by bad news. It does not crumble when the future feels uncertain. It stands tall even when your knees feel weak. That trust was born in the hush of the morning. It's grown not in striving, but in surrender. So when you rise, after sitting in the quiet with God, after laying your worries at His feet in the dawn, you rise differently. You rise with a calm that chaos cannot touch. You rise with a fire that fear cannot quench. You rise not in your own strength, but in His. That is the altar of trust. That is the quiet strength of the secret devotion. Asterisk, asterisk, there is a kind of peace, child, that does not need proof, a kind of love, that wraps itself around you without condition, without earning, without effort. And that peace, that love, it waits for you in the quiet. We've been taught to perform, to impress, to polish our prayers like silver platters and serve them to God as if He needs the presentation. But God, He is not moved by performance. He is moved by presence. He does not want your perfect, He wants your real. So come with your cracking voice, your unanswered questions, your dreams still shivering from last night's storm. Come before the sun fully rises, when the light is soft and your soul is honest. When you are not yet wrapped in the robes of your daily strength, that is when the veil is thin. That is when heaven leans down and whispers, I see you. Not the version of you that people clap for. Not the you that has it all together, no, child. Sees the you that cries behind closed doors, the you that doubts, the you that hopes, the you that keeps showing up even when your faith feels fragile, and He loves you there. That's the gift of stillness. You stop hiding. You stop pretending. You stop dressing your spirit up in Sunday clothes when all God ever wanted was the naked truth of your beating heart. Stillness strips you of the need to impress. It leaves you with nothing but the raw material of your soul. And God says, that is enough. He takes your silence and hears it louder than a choir. He takes your tears and reads them like scripture. He takes your presence and calls it beautiful. So don't be afraid of being quiet. Don't be afraid of being seen. Don't be afraid of not knowing what to say, because the most powerful prayer you may ever pray is the one where you simply sit and say with your being, here I am. No mask, no noise, no striving, just you. And in return, He gives you Himself. His presence, his peace, his knowing and child. To be known by God, truly known, is to carry a fire in your bones that cannot be put out. It is to walk through this world with a hush in your spirit and a roar in your soul. So before you chase anything today, before you perform, before you try to prove that you are worthy, just breathe. Just sit, just open, and let him do what only he can do. Remind you, you are mine, you are loved. You don't have to try so hard, you are already home. Asterisk there. Comes a moment, child, when you must rise. Not with a roar, not with a plan, not with every answer wrapped in a bow, but with the hush of heaven still clinging to your bones. You rise. Not because the world is easy, but because you have touched something eternal in the stillness. And now you carry it with you. You carry the quiet, you carry the calm, carry the secret devotion most will never see, and oh, how the world will try to shake it from you. Emails, deadlines, voices that shout, you're falling behind. But you walk steady because your strength was never found in their noise. Your strength was forged in silence. It was shaped in surrender. It was born when you stopped performing and started trusting. So as you move through the day, remember, you are not walking alone. You walk with the wind of God at your back, with the breath of grace filling your lungs, with the peace of Christ guiding every step. You are not empty anymore. You are full, not of the world, but of the Spirit. And that fullness does not look like busy. It looks like presence. It looks like speaking with kindness when you'd rather be silent. It looks like choosing joy even when sorrow presses hard. It looks like listening for the whisper of God in the middle of your meetings, your chores, your rush. Because once you've met him in the morning, you'll start to see him everywhere. In the laughter of strangers, in the quiet courage of your breath, in the soft nudge that says, forgive again. You don't leave the devotion behind when you leave the quiet, no, child. You carry it with you like oil on your skin, like light in your eyes, like a steady fire burning quietly behind your ribs. And the world will notice. They may not know what it is. They may not have words for it, but they will see the difference. They will feel the peace in your presence, the gentleness in your strength, the fire that doesn't flicker when the winds rise. You don't need to explain it. You just need to live it, live from the hush, live from the stillness. Live from the sacred space where God whispered, you are mine. Because once you've heard that, truly heard it, you can face anything. So go now, child of the quiet morning. Go with your spirit anchored in the peace of his presence. Let your life be the sermon. Let your walk be the worship. Let your devotion speak without words. And when the day presses heavy, when the noise creeps back in, return to the stillness. Close your eyes, take a breath. Remember, you began this day with God, and he is not leaving you now. Asterisk, the day will come as it always does, with its demands and distractions, with its noise and needs, and you, beloved, you will give. You will pour. You will carry others in your prayers, in your patience, in the way your smile holds back your own weariness just to lift someone else. But even strong souls must come back to the well. Even warriors of the Spirit must kneel to drink. Even those wrapped in divine peace can feel the tug of the world pulling at their hem. And so, when the evening shadows stretch long, when your shoulders sag from invisible weights, and your heart forgets the sacred hush of the morning, return. To the quiet, return to the place where your spirit was fed, not with words, but with presence. Return to the moment before you performed, before you poured, before you gave yourself away, because you are not meant to live off the morning alone. The hush is not a one-time visit. It is a rhythm, a return, a home you carry. Inside you, you see, child, true devotion is not something you graduate from. It is something you grow deeper into. It begins in stillness, yes, but it continues in remembering, and choosing to pause again and again, to sit beside the Father not just when you wake, but when you break. To lean into his presence not just in the dawn, but in the dusk. You were never meant to run on empty. You were never called to be a flame burning without oil. So come back. Come back to the hush, where he waits without judgment, without rush. Come back to the silence that knows your name. To the arms that don't need your strength to hold you, you will be tempted to think you must earn his presence again. That's the lie. You never lost it. You only lost sight of it in the noise. But even then, even when you forgot, he never left. His whisper has followed you through every hour. His mercy has lingered in every breath. So when your strength begins to flicker, when your smile begins to strain, when your hands grow tired of carrying the weight of the world, don't push harder. Don't pretend louder. Just return. Return to the hush. Return to the altar of breath. Return to the stillness where you first heard the truth that anchored your day, and you will find it again. That same voice, that same peace, that same knowing. You are mine. Double quotes. Yes, child. Morning, evening, sunrise, and starlight, mountaintop or midnight, you are still his. Let the world chase its noise. Let the proud wear their strength like armor, but you wear the hush. You carry the quiet. You walk in the holy rhythm of rest and return, and that is the secret the world may never understand, but your spirit knows. Your heart remembers. Your soul whispers again and again, he is here. So now, my dear one, as this message comes to a close, may your soul remain open, your spirit remain soft, your mornings never be the same. May you rise not with anxiety, but with expectation. May you seek not performance, but presence. May you choose stillness over striving, silence over noise, trust over control, and in that hush, may you always find God waiting, not with judgment, but with joy. Not with demands, but with delight just to be with you. If this sacred whisper has touched you, share it. Let someone else know they don't have to earn God's love. They only have to show up, like comment, subscribe. Send this to a soul who needs to breathe again. And above all, guard your mornings. Guard your hush. For in that quiet space, you will always find the truth. You are seen. You are loved. You are held. You are never alone. This is the secret morning devotion. Now you carry it, asterisk.